We are live from Casa de Papa. Oh, what type of word is that?
Casa de Papi.
Casa de Papi.
There you go.
Yes. On this, I think the temperature has broke 100 degrees, right?
Yeah, I mean it's been the last 3 days or so, and not just in New York. I think it's all over the East Coast and Mid America too. Temperatures are it's too crazy.
Yeah, in years past, I would walk outdoors all day, every day, for hours. But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing it's wise to sit in the air conditioning on a day like today.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden you realize it's not safe. I mean, it's not safe for the body to be outside in 100-degree temperature, walking around and such.
I often wonder if, some of my mental health issues could be from lack of hydration, on excruciatingly hot days walking outside for hours. Maybe I caused neurological damage to myself from not hydrating enough.
Did you ever pass out?
No.
Did you ever throw up when you came in because that your body was rejecting rejecting stuff?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, that you were fine.
I mean, it was pretty intense and ridiculous, the amount I was doing. But hopefully, I don't have neurological damage from it.
I mean, look at, and I'm not making any comparison, but I guess I am making a comparison. Look at all the baseball players that play hours upon hours, in the hot sun, and the football players when they start their summer camps and such.
The Olympic athletes too.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody says you are perfectly fine, Andrew. I hope you're right, and I guess I'll just believe that you're right. So hello, TB. TB says hello. Hey, Andrew and Papi, how's it going? It's going well. Yeah, we're just trying to stay cool on this day. We're trying to stay nice and refreshed.
Oh yeah, I think tomorrow night, I think it's going to get down into the 70s. If I saw it correctly. So I mean that's good. That's going to help out.
We had a wave of scorching heat, but now it's going to cool down, which is what we need.
Oh yeah, definitely. But we were just talking before we started the podcast. Is it a podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we started this broadcast podcast, we were talking about the weathermen, and it's interesting how, like a week ago, they didn't even mention the high temperatures, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh wow, we're going to have some really massive heat and such. We could do that in those jobs,
A lot of people can. I know a lot of people can do a lot of jobs, but you have to pursue it. You have to gather experience in the field.
Oh, of course.
And you need to prove your track record is reliable. Because, if you, could I broadcast on a podcast or a radio show? I think so. I think this is kind of like a podcast, but you got to get into broadcasting. You got to intern at some, show, and then you slowly from there get involved in broadcasting or,
That's true. I mean, and I know the weathermen, they do go to school for
meteorology.
Yeah, meteorology, exactly. And
I think some people can take shortcuts. I'm hoping to do that, but I guess we'll see. But it's really hot. So, Papi, do you want to share about your car or not really?
Yeah.
It's not really. It's kind of interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I was having problems with my car. I thought maybe it was because I was running the air conditioner and it was draining certain things in the car. But when I was driving along the parkway, I guess going 60 miles an hour or so, my car would stop to, it would kind of, I don't know how to place it. It would stop performing. I mean, it it's like it was stalling out. I mean, it wasn't kicking back or anything. It was just there was no power, and that lasted for maybe about 2 seconds or so, and then the power came back on a little bit, and this occurred when I was doing like 60 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour,
which is dangerous.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I know. Many years ago, I had a similar problem with my car. Maybe not exactly the same, but I would try to drive, and when I would go at high speeds, occasionally my car would like catch like this, and I realized, wow, this really isn't safe to be driving like this. And I was one to like neglect when my check engine light was on. I would just like let my car, I just never got my car checked, and people would even joke like, "You're just leaving your check engine light on." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't feel like I'm taking it over to the auto shop." But
no, that's important.
But when your car is literally catching when you're driving,
yeah,
you can't neglect it anymore.
No, definitely not.
And if you don't know, Papi doesn't drive a fancy car. He drives. I mean, let's go. I mean, and I'm not saying that's bad. I mean, your car is a lot like mine. It's kind of. We're not driving like these $1 million sports cars. We're driving like rundown cars, just quite frankly, right?
Yeah, basic cars.
I'm not insulting your car. It's fine. It's functional. No. They're just rundown.
Yeah, it gets me from here to there.
Yeah, exactly.
But I dropped it off today at 8:00 in the morning, and I just called over a couple of minutes ago, and they're like, "Oh, we haven't taken a look at it. We're out to lunch." Or the shop people in the shop are out to lunch, and they're going to get right on it right after lunch. So
TB asks, how is Papi's health? I hope all is well.
Yeah, you know what? It's the heat. I mean, one of the main things that I have, and as you can probably see right now, I have I guess these hot flashes where all of a sudden my body starts getting really hot. And in the summer or the big heat that we're having now, it's even worse because you're normally hot because of the weather, but it comes and goes, and that's one of the side effects of taking the medication that I'm on. So
he says, was Cyberknife as painless and quick as they say it is?
Yeah, I mean there was no real pain and stuff. I mean, there was a little bit of discomfort. Well, if you want me to talk about it, in the area where the cancer was formed, it's the prostate, and obviously people know that the prostate is important to help with the urination or prevent urination, and especially in older people because it swells up.
Yeah.
But in any event, yeah, the radiation kind of attacked the prostate, and the average body, or your body doesn't realize, hey, the radiation is trying to help you, or trying to help the body. So there's a lot of defense going on, and a lot of so yeah, I mean, I had for a couple of days I had problems. Well, when I say problems, it was painful urinating, and I guess because everything was all swollen in that area, and that kind of subsided, and I'm back to normal now. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. I'm glad you're back to normal, because your problems with urination. And didn't you say there was a movie you watched in college? There's something amiss when you can't take a piss.
Yeah, Fellini.
Share more about that.
There's something amiss when you can't take a piss. I took a film course when I was in college, and one of the films we watched was it was a Fellini film. 8.5 was the name of it, and that's the only thing I can remember from the movie was the guy in the boat saying, "There's something amiss when you can't take a piss."
And water is rebirth too. Then you said that was
rebirth. One. Yeah.
Yeah. If you see water in a movie, it always means rebirth. Oh, look! We got water here, so I guess that means rebirth, right? All right. So somebody says, "Are you worried Andrew will lose it if something happens to you?" I mean, I think that goes without saying, but like, are you worried about Andrew?
Lose what?
Basically, they're saying, are you worried Andrew will? Are you worried about Andrew? Because obviously, I'm dependent on you. Are you worried about Andrew if you were to pass away?
Oh, of course. I mean, and not even passing away. I mean, I worry about Andrew every single day in my life. I mean, he's my son, and you know, I only want the best for him. I hope the best for him. But yeah, I mean, that's your parents. That's one fear, or that's one thing your parents worry about is, okay, will my children be okay if I'm not here anymore?
Which is why it's also important to get independent and self-sufficient.
Without a doubt. I mean, you know what?
I know some people are unprepared for their parents' departure, and they're dependent on them, and it becomes a real nightmare for these people. But hopefully, I'm nice and settled. I have, things in place for me, so it's not an overwhelming sort of thing. Because, obviously, the loss of a loved one is heartbreaking enough. If you're dependent on the loved one, it's going to be even more heartbreaking because your life's going to be in shambles too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worst case scenario is being homeless, being without any type of support to help you out, and that's what we're trying not to.
TB says, "I hope you would tell Papi you love him sometimes, Andrew. He seems like a kind father." All right, you want to do I love you and a hug on camera?
Okay.
All right, I love you. And
thanks, Andy. I know. I always tell. As a matter of fact, my entire life. I mean, I've always, matter of fact, even when I was working, I always spoke to Andrew on the phone. He always called me when I was at work and such, and I've always told him. I mean, I think I've told him almost every single day of his life that I love him, and that's because I do. I mean, he's my son.
I love you too. And I love you too. And that's a beautiful thing, somebody says these are very wholesome. These are very wholesome streams, and Rusty loves the Papi and the Wildman.
Thanks,
both
Rusty.
the podcasts and also the Papi and the Wildman, the traditional sense, how they all know us, DSLR videos.
I think it's time to
break out the DSLR, shave the beard.
Shave the beard.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Yeah, I think it's time. I don't know if anybody remembered, or I don't know if I ever shared why I let my hair grow really long and and stop shaving. It's not because I'm a hippie. Which I am anyway. I am a hippie.
Yes.
I've been hippie all my life. However, when I was diagnosed with the cancer, that was around October last year, and at that point, I just said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to shave. I'm not going to cut my hair, and because I remember a story from I'm not getting religious on you, but there's a story in the Bible, and probably everybody knows it, of Samson. Samson was he got his strength from his hair, and then he took a wife, Delilah, who was in cahoots with the king, and they cut Samson's hair, and he lost all his strength, and once his hair grew back again, he became strong. But anyway, having said that, actually, you know what? Yeah, he became strong, but he pushed pillars down within a temple, and
see, I thought it had something to do with playoff hockey.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Playoff. I mean, that was my take on it. While you
I'm
were
the hockey player.
That was my take on why you were growing the beard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I just stopped. I figured, you know what? If the strength and the
do you want to before we get back to the strength, you want to reference what the hockey player is, or just leave people guessing?
Go ahead.
So many years ago, there was a commercial with Patrick Kane and Peggy, who I don't know why we were obsessed with both the Peggy commercials, but Patrick Kane calls this like weird guy in like a foreign country, and he's like, "Hey, Patrick, you want to elaborate?" Or
no, you're doing good.
there was another one with.
Well, Patrick Kane is an American hockey player that played for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Where does he play now?
I think he plays for Detroit. He played for the Rangers for a little bit a couple of years ago, and he's at his end of his career, kind of, but he's still playing, and I think he's still on Detroit. But yeah, I mean, we like the commercials.
There was another commercial, and somebody says, Patrick Kane had a problem. No, another person had a problem in a cab, and Patrick Kane had and like they said they should have put Patrick Kane in a taxi cab, and
did a commercial,
and they should have put the other guy in the contrasting. Okay. So that's enough about Patrick Kane. I remember when he would go to the Nassau Coliseum, people would chant "No means no" at him, right?
Exactly.
So didn't somebody accuse him of rape at some point?
Yeah, I mean, somebody came. I think he's from Buffalo, and somebody in that area, female, accused him of sexual doings,
right.
And took him to court, and when the DA or when they asked the person, okay, what happened and so forth and so on. I mean, she couldn't even explain, or she couldn't even say what Patrick's house looked like, and she was lying. I mean,
right.
That's basically it. I mean, there was no proof, and it was just a money grab. She thought that he would just automatically pay her money to stay out of the.
Apparently it was false. It was false allegations, but still, even so, every time he would go to the Nassau Coliseum, the drunken Islander fans would chant, "No means no, no." I mean, even it sticks with you. You know what I mean? Even if people make up false allegations about you, I mean, people still chant it. You know what I mean?
And that's the brilliance of hockey fans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no violence or anything, but it's more.
Theo Fleury too. I remember he had a crack addiction, and the fans would chant "Crackhead Theo Fleury" at him, right?
Yeah.
So that was another example of that.
But you know what? It's I guess it borders on being mean-spirited, but I mean not as mean-spirited as I forget the player. I think he was playing for Arizona. It just happened yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
A baseball player. He just lost a family member. I think it was his father or his mother.
Right.
And he went to Chicago, the White Sox, to play a game. And there was a few fans in stands that were just, making fun of him or just saying bad things about his mother and father who just passed away. And, it got him emotional, which, how do you not be emotional? People are ragging on you that your parents passed away. And, matter of fact, I just read today in the paper or online where those fans were escorted out of the stadium and they're banned from Major League Baseball to attend any games. I mean, that crosses the line. I mean, you know what? You can razz a ball player, you can say certain things, but you can't be mean spirited and you can't try to hurt somebody with your words.
Somebody says about Andrew. You told us the other day you didn't like your baseball vacations when you were a lad. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't. But I love my father very much, and even though I liked the poolside dancing, I liked going to the WWE, the pro wrestling. So there were things we did, but
and that came, that was very hurtful that you said that. Just basically, I mean, before we even started vacations, I would always ask Andrew and his brother, like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? And for the most part, it was their call on what they wanted to do, and now that he says, hey, it was a joke and he hated it. I mean, that wasn't the case. I mean, and we got to see a lot of America. I mean, we saw a lot of places in America. We went through Canada.
That's true. We saw Chicago, Milwaukee, Canada,
Indianapolis, Minnesota. I mean, we went to Milwaukee. We went to a zoo in Milwaukee. We went to Hard Rocks. We saw a lot of wrestling.
We got a lot of Hard Rock shirts.
We didn't we climb the big tower in Chicago?
John Hancock. All right. Okay. So
it came. I mean, that totally came. That came to a shock. I mean, we harassed the Atlanta Braves.
Chicks dig the long.
Okay.
Well, so some people said, is that a Captain America shirt?
It's Marvel, and it has all of the, Marvel characters. So yeah, Captain America, he's on here somewhere.
So somebody said, okay, we can get back to Chicks Dig the Long Ball. Somebody said
that's a pretty interesting story.
So I'm going to start off by putting it. So obviously, in my childhood, I would get embarrassed very easily, and like if my father would say something at a baseball game, it would make me, I'd get embarrassed. I'd get timid. Cringeworthy. So you tell the story.
There was a commercial, a famous commercial. I think it was for Nike, and in the States here. And the premise of the commercial was the Atlanta Braves had a tremendous pitching staff, and they were known, hey, Atlanta's going to beat you because you're not going to be able to hit off their pitchers and such, and their pitchers were outstanding. So there was Maddox and Glavine. So the commercials here in the States had to do with the pitchers were trying to flirt with the girls and such,
impress women,
and the women wanted nothing to do with the pitchers. What they wanted was the big home run hitters like Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, and the whole premise of the whole thing was, the pitching staff, or I think it was Maddox, said, "Hey, chicks, they dig the long ball," which means a home run. So they were trying to increase their ability to hit home runs to get the women.
Right.
And that's kind of like the premise of the commercials, and that was kind of like the catchphrase. Chicks dig the long ball.
So we were at a baseball game, and my father was screaming
in Toronto.
And my father was screaming at a player. I guess it was one of the players you described.
It was Glavine.
Chicks.
Actually, it was Glavine and Maddox.
My father was screaming, "Chicks dig the long ball! Chicks dig the long ball!" at the player, and I was obviously getting really embarrassed. I'm like, "Oh, don't scream at the player!" And
of course, this was pregame. We were down the right field line, and they were working out in the outfield at the time. So, they looked over and they smiled, and they acknowledged the fact that we knew about the commercials and such. And but the people in the stands, I guess, Toronto, Canada, they weren't familiar with the commercial, and they were like, "Oh, why are you screaming at? Why are the players laughing and pointing at you?" And I explained it was a commercial back in the States, and so, but yeah, Andrew and his brother, they ran off. They literally ran off.
They're like embarrassed.
However, so we're watching the game, or the game is playing, and about the third inning or so, up on the Jumbotron, there's they showed these girls with these banners near the dugout, and the banners said like "Chicks dig the long ball," and once it was on the Jumbotron, all the people who were in our area, they were all excited, like, "Hey, that's what you were screaming!" And Andrew at that point, he was like, "Yeah, that's what we were screaming." He was getting all excited about being part of like the cool group now. Like, yeah, that was us. We were screaming that.
Right.
So Yeah, I mean, we had good times. We had really good times.
Somebody says, "What are your thoughts on Andrew believing that you having?"
Read it.
Okay, somebody says, "What are your thoughts on Andrew believing that you had lots of girlfriends while he was young? I don't know. It doesn't. I don't. It doesn't really matter." Somebody says, "Hug your father, Andrew." So we'll do another hug. Okay.
Give me a big hug.
Yeah, you give me a hug too.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do a mutual hug. All right.
Yeah, I like, and you know, we mentioned before that, you know, I think, I mean, almost every single day of my life, I've told Andrew I love you. I mean, at the end of our telephone conversations, or even in person and such. And even like the hugging. I mean, I used to love. I mean, I hugged Andrew all the time, and then he got very squeamish about, you know, me hugging him, and you know, he was a little bit standoffish on that. And I was like, all right. I mean,
Says, "We love you too, Papi. We love you too." And so the impatiens love you too.
You know, if somebody doesn't want to be hugged, you know, you can't force yourself to hug somebody, but you know, you're not going to prevent me from always saying I love you. And
so this is a troll that obviously is getting under my skin.
We like this.
They say this is almost realistic, but Andrew doesn't seem to feel love. The other. So this person's obviously accusing me of having no empathy and feigning emotions, but that's not true. I genuinely love my father. And you know, it's been. I know some people wanted to say, you know, I have empathy. It's been said by the best in the business of psychiatry. Don't feed the trolls, basically.
No.
I mean,
and you know what? These trolls. Come on, how dare you? I mean, everybody in life. It doesn't matter if it's Andrew, if it's me, if it's you. Everybody in life has issues. Everybody in life has things that they're not perfect with, or they can't seem to.
And I bet you this person is probably the person who has the lack of empathy, and they're just projecting onto me. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just you know, just
that's like, you know what, Andy? It's like telling an alcoholic, hey, you know, your problem is drinking alcohol. Why don't you just stop, and why don't you just, you know, have a great life after that? But, you know, telling an alcoholic to stop drinking, you can't, because it's inbred. It's like smoking as well. I mean, if somebody's a smoker and you say, hey, you know what, you're getting sick because you're smoking, it's an addiction. Alcohol is an addiction. You know, smoking is an addiction, and you can't make fun of somebody, or you can't belittle somebody that they can't break an addiction. You know,
lack of empathy is an addiction.
Well, you know what, the troll was getting at the fact that you know, that I guess some of the things that you say and such, you know, it could be mean spirited and such, but you know what, that's part of an illness that Andy's working very hard fighting through.
Yeah. My diagnosis is symptomatic schizoaffective disorder. I know some people, you know, created narratives about me and spread lies, and you know, believe what you want to. Who cares? Just block this Abilify, whoever he may be. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Don't let the trolls get under your skin.
No.
And really think about it from this. I mean, why are you coming into my live stream just to say nasty things to me? I mean, I've never gone into anybody's live stream to say nasty things to people. You know what I mean? I don't like saying nasty things to people in person and through the internet. I mean, to go into somebody's live stream just to criticize them is a nasty thing to do, you know?
Exactly. And you know what? The people who do that, those are the people that don't have the compassion. Those are the people that don't have the empathy. You know what?
Yeah.
These people should be trying to help Andrew, trying to help people who need help.
Yeah, it's a reflection on who they are.
Exactly.
Not so much who I am, you know?
That is correct. I mean, hey, I mean, look at Andy. I mean, he's starting to get enrolled in a new program, a new process, and he's trying to help himself, and you know what? You got to applaud that.
That's beautiful. I'm going to be getting a new therapist. I'm going to be getting a new psychiatrist, and maybe I'll be starting groups. So I'm trying to get my life on track, and that should be applauded. And Poppy very much is applauding that. So thank you very much.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you know what? And everybody online should be doing that too, and not sniping them and not trying to, what did you say? His name was Abilify?
Or something to that effect.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't you have any compassion for other human beings?
Exactly.
Other people? There's no place for that in this world.
No place. All right. Do you want to get some lunch? You want to get some lunch, something to eat? I mean, I know you're still waiting for your car.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Mom's making dinner tonight or what she's doing, but it's really hot out. So I mean, let's throw the question over to the inpatients. If you were Poppy and I, what would you get to eat? So the options are this lamb of I don't know, or maybe I'll just go and try to find something. What are your thoughts, Poppy? I mean, there's a lot of options out there.
I've said this in my entire life, Andy. It's up to you. And I've always given Andy that option. I've always said that to him, and that's always been a pat answer. Even like you mentioned, the vacation. My philosophy has always been, hey, I mean, I work. Sure, I have family ties, but I can do whatever I want. I mean, if I want to, eat hot dogs at Nathan's, I can do that. I mean, if I want to go to a clam bar and have seafood, I can do that. So when Andy always asks me, and his brother always like, oh, where do you want to go to lunch, or what do you want to do? I never say. I mean, my entire life, I've always said to him, no, you tell me, what do you want to do? Because, I have the option to do whatever I want to do when I'm not around them. So anyway, to answer your question, Poppy, what do you want to do for lunch? You tell me, Andy, what do you want to do for lunch? That's always been my answer.
You want to go to a 5-star steak restaurant and get an expensive steak?
Of course.
or go get some radicchio, or go to a fancy Japanese restaurant.
If you want to, sure.
Your reaction's gonna be too pricey, but it is, I guess, right?
And plus, unfortunately today I'm waiting for my car. Can you talk about my car?
Yeah, we did talk about it.
I think we did, because I know I spoke with Andy about it before we went online, and I don't remember if I spoke about the car. But in any event, I'm waiting for my car to be looked at, to be deduced as to what's wrong with it, and hopefully, knock on wood, they're working on it right now, and they'll be fixing it, and it's something they can fix.
All right, I guess that about does it.
Okay.
Erie says, Poppy is starting to look like Gandalf the White.
Exactly.
That's exactly what he's starting to look like. All right, peace out, my inpatients.
Yeah, I almost shaved my beard today, but it was hot, and so maybe this afternoon or maybe tonight. The next time you see me, I won't have the beard.
Somebody says, I can be Frodo, my precious. I'm not going to do that. That's cringeworthy, right?
Oh,
yeah, okay. Precious, yeah, no.
My precious.
No, that's cringy. That's cringy.
Why?
Okay, so peace out, and I'll see you all soon. Peace. Poppy's a hippie. Thanks for watching.